Yeah, it is a Africa Day, and we say Happy Africa Day to every African on the continent, those in the diaspora, those with conscious African minds, because, yeah, you may not uh, be coming from the continent of Africa, you may not be from the continent of Africa, but you just love everything African. So, yeah, you're also part of those people, and we appreciate you. Now, today is Africa Day, the annual commemoration of the 1963 founding of the Organization of African Unity, which is now known as African Union. Now, the organization was established on the 25th of May 1963 in Addis Ababa, as I mentioned, with 32 countries signing onto this particular charter. And today is another day that we remember, such an important day. Talking about it in a lot of African countries. I think every African country is on it. I wonder for those countries who are not signatory to that, I don't know if they're still on it. I don't know about the new one. We get to find out more about it. But it's a significant day because the agenda here is actually looking to unite every single, country on the continent of Africa. Of course, had a few great, what do you call it, initiation, great reason why it was formed, successes, purpose, and look at a few challenges because we cannot do away with that as we go along the road. Let me start with Hafiz.
Barry.
It's a great day, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what makes Ghana so significant in this particular conversation?
Why?
I mean, do I need to mention?
No, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, Osagyefo was like the pillar in there. It was like when you're talking about the frontliners, there are others as well. Haile Selassie, Modibo Keita, but you always see Kwame Nkrumah to be spearheading this agenda. So it's a very important conversation with Ghana, being in the forefront of this whole agenda. But Africa.
Yeah, when you
Day.
mentioned Kwame Nkrumah, I mean, some time back, people were toying with the idea of a United States of Africa.
Of Africa, yeah.
they
USA,
were-
yeah.
Anyway, but the African Union Day,
Mm.
African Union Day.
Right.
I mean, let me start by. I mean, the AU, when you talk about it as an organization,
Mm.
it's one that evokes different emotions in people.
Mm.
For some, it's one organization that has done very well.
Okay.
Yes, irrespective of the challenges. For others, they feel it's one that hasn't lived up to expectation.
Right.
And in both arguments, you find people espousing very compelling arguments, and you are going to side with whichever side side of the arguments, depending on how you are swayed.
Mm.
But then, looking at the AU, I mean, it's one organization that has come a long way.
Mm.
I mean, like you rightly mentioned, started out being a 32 member states organization.
Right.
Yes, so which was just then the OAU.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was just to eliminate the last vestiges of colonialism.
Yes.
That was the whole idea. Get rid of any remnants of apartheid
Neocolonialism.
and all that on the continent.
Right.
So it has moved from that to to a 50 plus member states where we now have all kinds of where the whole sole aim is to institute some form of cooperation,
Right.
understanding, unity on the continent. And so the idea behind it all has changed over the years.
Mm.
But then, like every other organization, I mean, it has certain arms that allows it to tackle
Right.
issues in terms of security, in terms of health, in terms of education,
Mm.
blah blah blah. And with the AU, we have the Peace and Security Council.
Right.
There's the Assembly of Heads of States and Government. There's also the AU Advisory Board
Yeah.
on Corruption. So there are so many organs of this organization that helps it carry out its activity.
Mandates, right.
Its mandates. But like you rightly mentioned, the thing is, I mean, with every organization, there are pluses and minuses.
Right.
There are successes and there are challenges.
Mm.
And with the AU, I just want to put out some few successes here before we maybe delve into challenges later on, time permitting. Now, with successes, when you talk about the African Union, now we've seen a lot of election violence every now
Okay.
and then. Yes, instance in Cote d'Ivoire and Kenya comes to mind. There's also some issues when it came to Sudan, and the African Union was very instrumental in trying to quell the tensions in these countries. Now, the thing about it is that, I mean, when you talk about the AU, now what makes it different from the OAU is the fact that with the OAU initially they had an entrenched position on the fact that they wouldn't interfere in the internal affairs of member states. Yes, but with the AU is different.
Okay.
Yes, so they actually have the right to deploy military, to deploy some form of military help to any country that needs it in this time around, unlike the OAU that used to do that. Now, still on the successes or pluses of the AU. Now, yes, every now and then when elections are conducted, we see observer missions
Yeah.
that come around. Yes, and these are missions that come around to observe the electoral conduct of member states, and this has gone a long way to improve democracy and governance on the continent. And still on democracy and governance, you can see that the AU has what they call the peer review mechanism. Now, what it does is that it allows member states to send in certain experts from other states to come and do some sort of assessment
Okay.
of countries that to be able to allow them to improve in their democratic credentials.
Okay.
So leading to a lot more very good governance. And lastly, I think AU is starting to pay attention to global trade. Now, of course, when you mention the influence of the foreign influence on the continent, recently the name that comes on everyone's mind is China.
Yeah.
Yes, the growing influence of China. But then with China, we have a very interesting relationship with China. This is a country that recently put up a multi-million-dollar complex to house the AU headquarters.
Yeah.
Yes, in Addis
In
Ababa.
Addis Ababa, yeah.
Yes, so in the books of the AU, well, that's a good thing. Anyway, so depending on which side of the divide you are on,
Yo.
because Western partners seem to think, well, there's an end game to this, and China is not to be trusted anymore.
Right. So why would they build it for us instead of having? Okay. Right. Well, like you said, everybody's got their own personal interest. So would they have preferred them building it for us or something like we don't know, but we'll find out later on. So let me get to Epi and then get back to Mame. Epiphania.
Barry.
So you were looking to visit what? You said what? Seychelles? No, not Seychelles.
Seychelles and Madagascar.
No, one country, Madagascar. Just go on the island.
Why are you throwing me off the island?
She's already going to Seychelles. Okay, you want to go to Seychelles like her? Right. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to conversation.
I'm not giving an answer.
African Unity Day today. We are commemorating a very important day.
Yes.
Someone said if Kwame Nkrumah was alive today, he would have been, asking what happened to his baby.
What happened?
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have gone around to discipline some people. It's not just about asking what happened. So
Right.
going around to put certain things in place. But,
Okay.
I mean, on the I want to look at it on the global stage in the sense that instead of you having some of all these global partners or actors relating with 55, 56, or 54 African countries, they actually relate directly with the AU. The AU actually is representing and standing for the African countries, the member states. They're more like an interlocutor. They represent us and they're able to give one voice. So instead of having different parts coming to you with I want this, I want that, you actually put it all together on one umbrella, and then they come and they're able to say this and this and this is what must happen, this and this and this is what we need.
Right.
And I feel this is good in the sense that at least it's like you have a channel through which you can reach the outside world or outside medium, and then also then you can be able to trace what is coming in and what is going out. Okay, this is where we went and that is where we didn't go to.
Okay.
So I feel they're doing well in that aspect because, representing Africa's perspectives when it comes to international debates, being able to stand there and say, okay, this is it. We're tired of having people tell our story for us. It's good when we're able to tell our own stories. So I think it's a good thing that the AU is doing in that light.
Okay.
Now, one of the key things, though Hafiz touched a bit on that, is what they call the APSA. The African Peace and Security Architecture that is under the AU. And basically, it's just to make sure that there's peace on the continent among the various countries. So then they deploy peace operations.
Okay.
Looking across, checking out. If they feel there's some form of disturbance somewhere, they have to go and find out what is happening. What is the root cause of this? What can we actually do to resolve this? So I think APSA has so far been doing a good job when it comes to the continent. Yes, not everybody gets 100.
Absolutely,
yes, you
yeah.
can say that
What an
we are
effort.
Yes, you can
You
say they
know?
have made a tremendous
Yeah,
contribution when
yeah.
it comes to conflicts that is both emerging
Mm.
and the one that we already have on the
Right,
continent.
right. It reminds me of yesterday's daily face. So what effort is what is next to what?
Perfection is attained in effort.
In efforts,
Yeah.
things something like that. Okay, thank you, Epifania. Let's hear Mame. It's African Unity Day.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that was a dream
Mm-hmm.
of some of the late great leaders that the
Right,
continent has seen.
right.
And I believe this is a day we should all sit and reflect. Has that dream been fulfilled today? Are we actually united? Is there the possibility that we'll actually have an Africa that is united? What can be done? What can we even do as individuals?
Right.
Why is Epi shaking her head? Could you please put her mic on?
Nah, she's shaking her head because she's thinking about something that didn't really work out for her. Forget Epifania.
Well,
She's living in a different world at the moment, and I don't want to be a part of that. That's destructive. That is. I can tell you for a fact.
Well, you know Epi when it comes to issues in Africa. But as I was saying, this
Yeah.
is the day that we as individuals should, aside looking at putting the AU aside, the AU is the head. They are
Right.
championing this cause. But what can we as individuals do? How do we treat other African citizens who live in our countries?
In our countries. Yeah. That's a
If we are
brilliant.
looking to building a united continent, it is where
It should start
from
amongst
seeing
ourselves,
somebody
as-
as yourself, even though they're from a different African country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I believe this is the day that we should have these kind of
Conversations.
conversations instead of looking at and the AU. I mean, the AU is the AU. If we want to start talking about the AU,
It's a long book.
it's
it's a long
sure
book.
some of us
Yeah.
will throw
But
punches,
I totally completely agree with you because
So I believe like in when it comes to the grassroots, these are some of the conversations that should be championed when we are celebrating Africa Day, instead of just talking about all of the glamour when it's AU Day and Kwame Nkrumah wanted this.
Yeah.
They wanted it. The dream hasn't been fulfilled. What are we the ones left behind doing?
Right.
And the theme for this year's celebration is arts, culture, and heritage, levers for building the Africa we want.
Wow. Amazing theme. I believe our leaders are stuck to this, and they're actually coming out with a blueprint that would actually see to
Barry,
something like this.
see,
But
if we
you
want
can-
to see
I
something
don't
actually
know.
come out of the continent,
Yeah.
we shouldn't just bang our hopes on our leaders. I mean,
But
we
you
have
see-
been looking to these people since time immemorial, and what have we seen?
But we would always resort to our leaders. Hafiz, am I wrong?
You know, there's this thing that says, "Be the change you want to see in the world."
But you see, my issue is your point very well, true, absolute. Because even if the leaders want a united Africa and we are not ready for it, it can't happen. So the conversation should be looked at from the opposite angle now. Let's start with the people. Let's forget about our own big meetings and everything. Let's come down to their level. Okay? Because I think to some extent, to a larger extent, a lot of us see ourselves to be different from the other. If I'm coming from Ghana and he's
Yeah.
coming from Nigeria,
It's
we are
like
not the same.
We just
There's a barrier.
It is only when
We
we
are
are doing
sovereign
bands
states.
that's
Exactly.
like we are seeing ourselves as well.
Because-
But when it comes to like serious things, then
Everybody's
it's like,
they're
I
all,
am
we're
from
all
Ghana
around.
and I am from Nigeria.
Right. But well, let's say what
I think
the
Epi
morning
wants to say
would give
something.
birth to. Before I get to Epi, Hafiz,
No.
still on the issue of success. I think one talking about the agenda of bringing African countries together and everything. Mami mentioned a very key thing, starting with the roots, starting at the roots, the grassroots level, where concentration would be focused more on the citizens within this great continent of ours.
Of course, that's where it should start.
It should- thank
these
you.
Conversations, but then again, I mean, leadership plays a key role. You need some form of direction as to where you are headed. Okay, what exactly is the plan? Yes, I mean, there are situations that has consistently militated against very genuine efforts to try to work some of these issues.
Right.
Economically, we've seen issues crop up. We've seen, I mean, sometimes even unrest in terms of peace that has militated against certain issues at bringing the whole continent together. Even a particular sub-region where recently we were talking about peace missions and operations, and we saw the complexities
Yeah,
of it all.
involved.
Yes, and having countries intervene or not intervene, the language barrier, having peace.
So many
Yes, so it's a
elements, huh?
mixed bag of issues. It's not something you can just say, okay, so the people should want it. What now? We just say it, and so okay. So what's the plan here, and
Okay.
what's the end goal? There's a lot that we need to to actually look at.
Right.
And with the AU, I mean, yes, I mentioned the successes, but if you permit me, I'll go into the challenges real quick.
Sure, sure.
Yes, and Maud has actually touched a bit on some challenges as well. But if you talk about the AU, I mean, you are looking at instances where we've said we're all about unity, but in practice, it's a different ball game. Yes, I mean it's so different. Okay, on paper we are united, but I mean it doesn't play out in reality that way. When push comes to shove, it's a different issue altogether. I mean, one recent example is the Malawi situation, where if you remember, in 2012 the AU summit was supposed to be held in Malawi.
In Malawi.
And what happened? Malawi refused to host it. Why? Because they didn't want Omar al-Bashir in there. Now, Omar was going to come in there because he couldn't come in there because for them, he had, I think, an ICC arrest warrant out
Yeah.
for him. So, as an ICC member, Malawi, it was within their rights
Not
or
to
within their
accept
responsibility to
who has-
arrest him. Actually, when
They
he
are
steps
supposed
foot
to arrest him.
there. Yes, as an ICC member. If not, you are going to face certain sanctions as an ICC member. Yes, and so they refused to do that, and so the AU had to quickly rearrange to have the summit in Ethiopia instead. Yes, and for Malawi, well, one can say you can understand them. I mean, this is a country whose budget is 40% aid sponsored,
Yeah.
so
You,
60%.
you don't have a say.
Exactly. So they are independent but not independent.
Yeah.
So you have this complex situation. I mean, recently we were talking about the issue of Libya, where countries were divided as to
Oh, yeah.
where they were
who-
throwing their
yeah,
support when it came to the issue of Gaddafi. So
Yeah.
when issues like this crop up, you find that well, everyone seems to be taking sides.
Right.
There are camps emerging and everything, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And still on the AU, in terms of intra-African trade and travel. Now, I think on this same platform, I mentioned that, I mean, these days it's so easy to travel to certain European countries than it is to travel in
On the
Africa.
continent,
Yes,
eh?
on the continent. And that is where I think
There's
the
another
the
issue
AU
there.
doesn't exactly score
But
great points.
we've seen the emergence of AFCFTA. Maybe it could actually solve the problem. Trade. I think one of the most reasons
Look,
why people travel is to
see, that's the
engage in
thing.
trading activities.
Like I said, on
right?
paper, we signed all these. It's not the first time. I mean, we've signed
Not even with that. Not every
all
country.
kinds of
not every
protocols.
54
We've signed
countries,
all
yeah.
kinds of trade agreements. But in practice, when they go there are certain legal or illegal, payments that seem to drive transaction costs up. Currently in Africa, overseas trade represents about 80% of the trade on the continent.
Right.
We prefer to trade with Europeans and everything
Than ourselves.
That's
There's a
that
big
tells-
question mark to be answered.
So
Huh?
that tells you something. So it's I think in that regard, the AU has its work cut out for it. So they really need to do something in that regard. And still on economics. Now, if you look at the AU and what they've tried to do, they've tried to how do I put it? Institute certain, to harmonize the fiscal and the fiscal policies to be able to have us have a unique or one monetary zone.
Yeah.
So, and they are trying to do this through the economic communities like ECOWAS.
The ECHO, I think.
So ECOWAS trying to bring in the ECHO.
Okay.
Now remember the ECHO when we tried it more than laughing.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We tried. We've been playing
it's been a
with it
while.
for what 4 years. 4 times we tried it.
I
and
remember before
it failed.
before what do you call it? President Mahama left office. I think around that period there was like it was just gonna happen. So why the change of this and that?
No, it has so many complexities. I mean, because one of the reasons to be able to be part of the ECO was the fact that member states had to hit single digit inflation, and that was around 2020, 2000 or so.
Yeah.
And between the periods of 2000 and 2016, I think Ghana's inflation was dancing around 16%. Nigeria's inflation was around 11%.
They were nowhere close.
And they wanted something around 5 or less.
to be able to have it, and that was a difficult task at
That
that
was
time.
difficult.
Right.
Yes. A lot of complexities when we
Right.
look at it, but for the AU, these are some of the challenges, and there are a lot more. No, I'm not even going to get into some, but
Well, yeah, let's pick Epi. Epi, I
Very.
think there's no way we cannot ride on the good ones and not pinpoint some of the things that may have been affecting operations and or mandates. Let's put it that way.
Are we really?
No, I mean definitely something that you feel
AU,
okay
AU.
should have been.
That is not.
Exactly. I know a lot, but real quick, just one.
Do you really have to say just one?
I don't. Maybe you see the thing is, what may not be working for you may be the opposite for the other
For other
person.
people,
So
but
yeah,
see,
exactly.
I think when it comes to this case, I mean, if it's working, it's working. You can't tell me it's not working for me, it's not working. If you can easily trade with other countries, you can't tell me it's working for me, it's not working for you. You know, it doesn't. If it's working, it's working. One of the things we have on our hand is the fact that we have our youth in many African countries, and I mean, most of these youths make about 3/4 of the working population there, and they go to school. You have parents who invest in everything, and they end up hoping to get good jobs, and they end up jobless. I mean, what are we seeing? What are we doing about it? And someone may say, "Oh, it's not really they. He's not supposed to be bothered about that." But I believe if we're doing the right things and creating good jobs, yes, I respect the fact that in one of their meetings in June in Equatorial Guinea, Malawi, they actually decided they had to do something. We have the AU, the Youth Charters, the Hustlers
Youth Chat,
Initiative,
yeah.
yes, and they're looking at a declaration on creating employment for accelerating the youth development and empowerment. That's a
Okay.
great thing, but. Like half is
It's on paper.
look.
Is that what you're gonna say?
The
no,
paperwork,
no, you're gonna
It's
say.
more than paper.
There's a
thing,
lot of signatories going on there. Yeah.
one thing my friend told me, and I think it doesn't just apply to Ghana, is the fact that in Ghana it is only when you get an issue that you know that there are laws. We have so many things that have been drafted and signed and put on paper. Where are those papers and where are the people? Fine, the people are gone, but then who is actually ensuring that these things are being carried on?
Right.
Trade within our own states, within our own countries. How is it happening? What are we doing about it?
Clearly, an individual would want to find out why is it.
I mean, mommy,
difficult.
when mommy was talking about are we going to see a united Africa and everything, I was shaking my head and you're telling me, oh, she's shaking her because
It's actually possible. It
I'm
is.
not saying it's not possible.
Yeah.
But look, the fire and the zeal, the people who started it are gone. They who had a passion, who understood what it is they wanted to do, who saw the vision.
Are you saying those here don't understand what it
No,
is
don't
now?
get me. If you're not the originator of the idea,
Okay.
you don't carry the blueprint. As much as you may buy into the idea, you need a passion and
So
a
what-
zeal. You need to be committed.
By that, well,
to be able to
if
follow
they
it.
are gone, then we don't need the organization of the African
It's not
Union
that we don't need.
anymore.
We have people who have bought into
Because-
it and they are trying to make it work.
Okay.
But with we saying that we're seeing it happening 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You want
Don't
my
forget,
honest
there's an
opinion?
agenda. There's an agenda by the CFTA. The last
How
time we
many
spoke is about
agendas-
2063.
How many agendas
100
have
years.
we
So
not seen?
we'll hope. You see,
How
there's one
many
thing we can
agendas have
we
we
can
not
only
seen?
grasp on,
Which
and that is
is?
hope. You can only have
And
that
that is
hope.
what I'm
But
saying. That you see, I'm not saying. Let's
Okay,
hope that everything works well, and one day we have the USA,
so
the
you
United States of Africa.
yeah.
That one day.
Mm.
But if I can tell you that one day is tomorrow, next year, or next 2 years,
may
or
not
5
be
years, or
soon.
10, it's not that
It may
soon.
not. It not be.
It's
It may not
that-
be
it
around
is-
your
it is-
generation.
It is like the Jesus is coming soon.
He will definitely
2,000
come.
years, that's kind of soon. That type of soon.
But at least we'll get there. Anyway, thank you, Epifania. Yeah, she's passionate, I know. I wonder how mommy's looking at her. But then, I mean, yeah, we would definitely get into more conversations surrounding the African Union agenda. And, because down the line, there was another one because it metamorphosed from Organization of African Unity to African Union. And that happened in South Africa. Muammar Gaddafi at the center stage, Thabo Mbeki and what have you. So we're going to be looking at that involving experts and having their opinions of what's really is the case. Is it a total failure of OAU that have led to this, or what exactly? We will definitely be engaging scholars and resource persons in that space, and hopefully get to speak to a rep from the African Union as well. But real quick, so another development in the western country of Mali. So the prime minister and the president have been detained by the military again after ECOWAS intervened and actually got them to have an interim government. That's when the military actually left the seats for the one they chose to lead as prime minister. But well, it happened again, and this I don't know if I'm supposed to call this a coup d'etat again. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Coup d'etat. So the president and the prime minister have been detained by the
And the defense minister.
and the defense minister. Okay, that guy's supposed to be closer to the military guys. I don't know what happened, but they've been detained and they've been sent to a certain place, Kati. That's I think a few kilometers away from Bamako. The AU intervened, and now this. So, are we looking at the bigger body now? The African Union coming in to actually man
You saw
situation.
the AU intervened or
Sorry, the ECOWAS. Sorry,
previously.
ECOWAS previously. I mean, headed by our own president, the chairman. I don't know if he's still the chairman. Is he? The
But-
chairman.
But if you want an intervention from a regional body, I
Yeah.
mean, like the ECOWAS, yes, what exactly did they do in there? Because I mean, if you have a bigger one like the AU definitely is working on the contributions of, say, from the regional bodies. We are talking like the SADC, the EAC, or the
Yeah.
ECOWAS.
Yeah, I see.
You know, when they
Mhm.
yes, when they come together, pull resources together, and then you have
Yeah.
situations where
Mm.
because we've had instances where this same Mali, where
Mhm.
this whole thing happened with
Mm.
the terrorist situation, they failed them. They had to call in the French to come in to help them.
Yeah.
That is, if that's actually even help, because we all know the French and what their end game is. So for Mali, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, just last August, I mean,
Yeah.
similar incident, and we had an interim government put in there for 18 months to try to, bring things back
Yeah.
to normalcy,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden we are hearing that reports that some military, those that partook in the previous
Yeah. Not
coup,
not
were
all
left
of
out
them.
in the
Yeah.
government reshuffling, and
So they didn't have positions in the government's hierarchy. So is that the
So-
case?
yes, that's what
Wow.
the initial reports indicates, and it's not a good picture.
Not
It's
at
really
all.
not. It's really not.
Not at all.
Because every now and then you think that, okay, we are taking 10 steps forward, and some way somehow we do
Yeah.
15
and
steps
and
back.
it's very worrying how every now and then in some of these countries you see the military just get into the situation and take charge. It's worrying.
Understand that, look, a civilian government and a military institution do not mix. It's like water and fire.
Yeah, but
Okay.
they're supposed to be
What-
under what is happening in Ghana, Nigeria. Commander in chief, the president, he's the final say, right?
Well, but every now and then we see the military pick up arms.
Exactly.
And decide to, take the law into their
Into
own
their own
hands.
hands,
Yes,
right,
and do
right.
certain things. I mean, it's the reason. I mean, when we saw the military in our parliament, we were very worried.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So these things, I mean, can't allow to continue. Can't be allowed to continue. But it's Mali. I'm just hoping they come out of this,
This,
because
yeah.
I mean, when you even read tweets by Malians, a few Malians
Mm.
on my timeline, they're like, well, it's very quiet here in Bamako. So
Really.
yes, so let's just hope it stays that way, because I mean, we've seen.
Well,
I mean,
and-
there are,
and you
it
know,
doesn't
the-
necessarily
the
have to be
worrying part
you
for
know,
me is it's not just
bloodshed and everything.
Exactly.
so-
The worrying part for me is not just about the military taking charge of government and detaining the president and the prime, but they're also battling issues with security and this Islamist extremist group and
Exactly.
everything. So,
So-
which one are we handling now?
So it's not a case of where we would sit and say, okay, it's Malian, so let them handle their
Oh
business.
no.
Because what it means
No.
is that in the larger or in the grand scheme of things, it actually affects the sub-region.
Oh,
Because
yes.
from Mali, when we
Burkina
have
Faso.
these guys overrun them and they get into Burkina Faso. well,
Mm.
Ghana is just a stone throw from Burkina, and we have to be worried.
Well,
We
yeah.
have to be worried in terms of the security situation. It's not looking
Because
so good.
these are some of the implications we're looking at. Because if we don't have a president now in Mali, it's been headed by, I believe, the military of taking authority and everything. So what are they focusing on? Are they focusing on getting another president or ruling the country, or are they focusing on tackling this? Because this is another it's like an open window.
Well, so far I've seen statements condemning the behavior and everything, but a lot of the time that's just all it is. Condemn
Statements.
it and then what?
And then that's it.
Because they go back to saying, okay, let's reshuffle. until someone feels like, nah, I've been left out, and then starts this whole thing
Oh,
again.
how come they left that guy's name out?
How come?
I don't know. Because if I'm part of the bigger crusade and I get left out, definitely I'm not going to take it
No, but
lightly.
what's the motive?
Exactly, that's the thing. So if you're left out, why do you? Is it necessary? I don't think everybody can get to be parts of government. I don't think so. But
Maybe the
anyway,
position
let me
they
quickly
bring
take Epi's and Mami's take on what's happening in Mali. Now, Mami,
Barry.
it has happened again.
Well,
Yeah. They have detained the president and the prime again.
I don't even want to say. I don't want to say anything that will make it seem like I am standing with them. I am not. But
Standing with who? Them, the who? The president or the
The
military? Who are the them you're talking about? Because them is like...
But I think these things are things that stem up as a result of systems not working in the country.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we've seen coups happen, and most of the time, it's because a nation's resources is being mismanaged,
Okay.
or the government in power is doing something that is not benefiting the citizens.
The citizens.
So,
okay.
For whatever reason they had
All
for
right.
arresting the president and the defense minister, we hope they can settle it and it doesn't lead to bloodshed. Because if it leads to bloodshed, then it's becoming a whole big thing.
It
and
is.
and right now, it's Hafiz said is a coup, right?
Yeah.
So it means the military has taken charge of the reins of the country.
That's what it looks like.
And this same country has Islamist groups doing their
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So we're hoping the
Terrorizing the
military
region, yeah.
can tackle that whole thing.
At the same time, tackle issues happening in state. That's the thing.
No, it's like they have arrested a president.
Yeah.
So you have arrested a president, the man who's supposed to see to all of these
The
things.
affairs, right.
So how about you see to them, and then when all is calm, then maybe we can find somebody who they feel is befitting.
Interim president. So
It's not even just, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, interim. So it's
So-
like, guy, you are not even the
So
one.
for all you know, they feel like
Yeah.
the person they put there in the
It's not
meantime
fit.
is not doing what he has
Okay, he's
to
supposed
do.
to do.
Yes. So
Okay.
so we're hoping
Okay.
since they have taken the reins
Yeah.
now, they should fix some of the things that need to be fixed.
All right, thank you. What is supposed to be, what they think is supposed to be doing may not, because what I think you should do and what you think you should do may not be the same thing. So it's like, if he's supposed to do what they think he
But
should
you
do,
know, in as
so
much
who
as
is he doing it for?
but you know, in as much as there's no a humble giving to a government
Yeah.
to rule, there are
Okay.
certain rules, there are certain basic things a government in power should
do.
do.
Okay, but still it doesn't justify the military every now and then just barging
I
in
know,
and seizing
but-
power, you know? But anyway, let me quickly take Epi. Epi,
Yeah.
quick one. Mali again, and yeah, not too good, especially on this day, you know?
It's like an AU gift.
But maybe the AU can actually do something to prove,
That's what I'm saying. It's like an AU gift.
Yeah.
You just gifted the AU a situation. they
solve the
had to
situation
resolve,
and
you know.
prove why you're
But
here.
with what Mami was saying, I mean, while you're at it, just get the job done. I mean,
Alright.
once you've taken the power, yes, we condemn the act. But what is the situation on the ground? The harm has already been done. They've already seized the people and then told them, you know what, pack. sit
So fix
somewhere,
the
let's just
situation, yeah?
Now that you are in the, just deal with things accordingly.
Okay.
And then we believe that as much as you're dealing with it accordingly, the AU too, after this wonderful birthday, would sit and draft and start looking at the way forward on how to resolve the issues, and not just resolve for now, but I mean we've seen what's-
Permanently.
Yes, so that
Okay.
in future it doesn't happen again.
All right, thank you, Epi. The show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. That's all we have for today on our discussions on, but we'll definitely be going back to a conversation surrounding, the refocusing of the Organization of African Unity to African unity, and what's the way forward, and why, and all of those things. There's a lot of issues at stake here: health, security, especially. We're going to be talking about that with scholars, experts in this space.